There is a defensive back coming out of South Carolina that is in the NFL draft that is happening in just a couple weeks. And that defensive back by the name of Jalon Kilgore is a very versatile defensive back. But how are we feeling about him? Are we high up on him or we low up on him? We're going to talk about it, break it all down. But you got to hear the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back in to another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host there, Bobby, and I'm bringing you the latest around the NFL as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. Me, myself, and Steve-O are bringing you the latest on some of the top prospects in this draft, and we'll be bringing you all some guys that may be underrated per se or being overlooked. So if you tuned in, like what you're listening to, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, man. This is your number one spot, regardless of who you root for around the NFL. We love talking football, so come join the family and come talk football. But on today's episode, we're going to break down draft prospect defensive back Jalon Kilgore out of South Carolina. I'm not going to lie to you. Watching the tape, I like what I see. I do have some things I have questions on about this young prospect, but I think that's basically something that's with all of the guys, at least majority of the guys. Wouldn't say all, at least majority of the guys in the NFL draft. But let's break down Jalon Kilgore. He comes in out of South Carolina, entering the draft this year. Comes in at 6'1", 210, and ran a 4.4 40-yard dash. So he has the speed. He has the size, and he comes in as a versatile defender who can play the nickel and who can play safety, and he shows it on the actual football field. Let's talk about the stats. Last season at South Carolina, Jalon Kilgore, he racked up 54 total tackles, didn't have any tackles for loss, didn't have any sacks, but he did have 2 interceptions for the Gamecocks. And keep in mind, he played all the last 3 years with South Carolina. And I like a couple things about Jalon Kilgore. Number one, I love the versatility. I love the versatility of defensive backs to where you can either place them on the inside or have them play safety, and those guys that can come in. And one thing I commend him on is him being able to be utilized in run support and not only coverage. I think that's a positive for a guy like Jalon Kilgore. He isn't afraid to tackle. I'm going to notch that as a positive. And he plays with so much fire. I love fiery football players. The biggest concern on the flip side of that is, can you contain that fire to where it doesn't help the football team? We're going to find out once he enters the NFL. Another thing that I like about Jalon Kilgore is that you can send him on a blitz and it's going to be effective. If the quarterback is going to drop back there and attempt to pass the ball, he's going to be a guy that's going to be right there, ready to hit the quarterback. If the quarterback turns around and hands the ball off, he's going to be right there, ready to try to bring down the running back of the opposing team. So that's really, really good for a defensive back like Jalon Kilgore. Another thing, before we talk about some questions that I may have, is that he's big enough to guard slot receivers, some tight ends, depending on who that tight end is. But he brings that size. 6'1", 210 is nothing to sneeze at. And that's the size that you want to have if you're going to have a defensive back playing inside or just dropping back to play a little single high coverage or something like that. If you want to roll your defenders a certain way, depending on the defensive scheme, I think that's really good on the part of Jalon Kilgore. Now, here are some things that I might be a bit concerned about for Jalon Kilgore at the NFL level. The first one is, though he's not afraid to tackle, there are some concerns about tackling technique when it comes to Jalon Kilgore. He wants to knock people's heads off, and I'm all for that. But in the NFL, if you have bad technique, you will get jumped over, you will get ran over, And yeah, that's been a part of his collegiate career thus far. He missed a total of 24 tackles in between 2024 and 2025. In 2024, he had a 14.3% missed tackle rate, and in 2025, he had a 12.7 percentage missed tackle rate. So those are some things that I hope that he could get better at, but with some coaching and things like that, that can improve for young players like a Jalon Kilgore as long as they put the work in. And I believe a lot of these players, more so than not, are gonna actually put the damn work in. Because yeah, you might have a couple knuckleheads here and there who feel like they made it and they don't have to do anything else to be great. But you also have a majority, at least in my belief, of the guys that are gonna put that work in. Another big concern for me when it comes to Jalon Kilgore is he likes to gamble. Look, I'm not mad at people that like FanDuel that's been entertaining Cauchy, but this ain't that. This is football. And when you gamble, you're gonna pay for it. Similarly, to have a lot of people try to put together 7-leg parlays on FanDuel and absolutely have to pay for it. Now, what I mean by he gambles is sometimes in coverage, you can watch Jalon Kilgore have good position, but he'll give up that position because he because of his belief in his own athletic ability. Like there are some plays to where you look like it's at down the field and the wide receiver gets behind him, which can happen on a said play, but you can really just tell that he just gave up his position to stay on top of that said receiver. Now don't get me wrong, there's gonna be some moments to where if you go and you watch the highlights or you sit down and watch the tape, and you're gonna see to where he's actually making plays because of his athletic ability. But you must proceed with caution when a player likes to gamble, simply because then offensive coordinators and play callers in the NFL, they're going to go out there and hit you with a double move. And then that can be 6 points going to the other team just like that. And while there's a lot of the times talent disparities amongst a team like South Carolina and a team that's a lower level D1 team who can't acquire the type of talent that South Carolina can, you can go out there and gamble and still make plays. But in the NFL, this is the cream of the crop. This is the best of the best a lot of the times, and you will get burnt. So I want to see if he can clean up on that technique, still believe in himself, but be more fundamentally sound when he is playing the defensive back position. That's all I'm saying. Now, before we get up out of here, we got to talk about some of the mock drafts and where Jalon Kilgore has been designated to go. One team that stood out to me is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And honestly, I think that'll be a solid fit for him. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're trying to reshape their defense. They spent some picks last year on the offense, getting guys like Abuka and still having Chris Godwin and still having Bucky Irvin. So those are still really good offensive pieces. Now it's time to reshape that defense, because not only did they lose Levante David, they also lost Jamel Dean this offseason as well. And Ty Bowles, he is a guy that loves to be aggressive, that wants to blitz, and we have to keep it a buck. These guys were on an upward trajectory before they fell off the face of the earth in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers towards the end of the season, losing 7 of the last 9 games that they played, primarily due to their defense. So he can absolutely go in and fit in with the way that he plays aggressively, plays with that fire. I think Ty Bowles can coach him up well, and he could be a piece that they can utilize on their defense. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see where he lands. I'm rooting for the kid. Ball out. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of NFL Central. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Let us know how you're feeling about Jalon Kilgore. Do you feel like a Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be a really good fit for him? Let me know why or why not, and what are some things that you like and some things that you dislike about this young prospect. But that is it for me. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you always love football, and y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation